Hello, my name is Amy Upham. I am a Master's in Public Health candidate at Lenore Ryan University. I'd like to thank you all for being here today to learn more about the risks of horizontal hydraulic fracturing. Many of you might have heard of vertical hydraulic fracturing. That has been going on for over 100 years, but horizontal hydraulic fracturing, or unconventional fracking, has been going on for just actually a couple of decades. In the 1990s, it began. It is when the land is drilled horizontally after it's drilled vertically. And you can see there on the upper left-hand corner, it's called unconventional. And what happens is they pump a fluid mixture with very high pressure volume containing sand that releases the methane gas and toxic chemicals, which helps to penetrate the shale usually. And they inject that into the bedrock of the earth. The natural gas escapes, and then they can use it as a fossil fuel. So what happens afterwards? Afterwards, the chemicals from the process, including hydrocarbons and a lot of nasty stuff, are released into the air and water. So it's not just the chemicals that are pumped in. Actually breaking up the bedrock of the earth releases some harmful chemicals and metals and such. Each well produced makes 5.2 liters of wastewater, and that wastewater cannot be treated by municipalities. So it's stored underground in wells. And as you can imagine, with some of these processes, there are a lot of errors that can occur at different stages. Groundwater can be contaminated. Unconventional wells, because they're so complicated and involve chemicals and so many different processes, they actually fail a lot more so than conventional or vertical wells. 9.14% actually, as opposed to 2.27%. And then groundwater can be contaminated through pipeline leaks. Pipelines go under the ground, and since 1998, there's been 807 of those leaks. Now that's both oil and gas, but both can have those effects, and there have been several natural gas pipeline leaks, resulting in 306 deaths. Surface water can also be contaminated, so it takes up to 4,000 trips by truck per well drilled. And as you can imagine, a lot of trucks have accidents. So there's been 21,000 spills of 175 million pounds of wastewater since 1998 in the 11 main states that were producing it. Now, Pennsylvania has been added as a main production, and there has been 100 spills in that state since it began. All this spillage of toxic waste, both under the earth and on top of the earth, obviously is going to cause public health problems. The EPA and Stanford University have definitively linked the toxins associated with the process to groundwater near the wells. So it's not a mystery that that's happening, but that had to happen first before they were going to investigate the health effects. And the health effects are that these chemicals cause cancer, asthma, breathing troubles, and disruptions in the endocrine systems. And communities where unconventional drilling is happening are actually experiencing mental health problems at higher rates as well. So let's talk about cancer and endocrine disorders. They found that cancer, in one study, the cancer risk was much higher within a half-mile radius of a well. One of those cancers is prostate cancer. Bone cancer also is a byproduct of radioactive materials. And then on the endocrine side of things, we have thyroid disorders, all sorts of reproductive disorders, and then some developmental disabilities that are linked to endocrine disorders in utero of the mother. So childhood obesity levels are higher for children whose mothers were exposed in utero. And then the mental health effects, a community is disrupted, much like the coal burning companies. So higher anxiety, poor subjective well-being, more days of work missed. And like I said, with the coal industry, there's this boomtown psychological effect where it's yay, 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 and then they leave the contractors to just have a few people carry the mission out. And there is some collective trauma that results because they don't really see the economic or psychological effects, but their landscape is changed. This is happening more in poorer communities and communities of color, as much toxic waste dumpage is. And in Buncombe County, the reason I'm here today, as you know, is to try to persuade you to really reconsider the pipeline that is planned to be built from Enka to Arden, which is a 12 miles. It would go under the French Broad River. And think about all those pipeline spills that I mentioned. And that's not just with wells, but that's also natural gas pipeline explosions, which can, in addition, cause fire. Sorry. So, you know that Duke Energy has plans to store natural gas in Arden in 2027. I'm assuming that's why this pipeline is there. But I believe we just need to say no to the whole thing and join the Asheville City Council, who has passed a moratorium on drilling, and not only not have drilling here, but not have any of the byproducts associated with that, neither the wells of wastewater or natural gas. I hope that you will take this to heart. Thank you so much for your time. And we really want to stay a community that's vibrant and healthy, and has a lot of wonderful green space for people to enjoy.